The Galactic Federation triggered a Class 9 biological emergency because of one human teenager's dirty socks. They sent soldiers, drones, and warships, but the deadly weapon they discovered was something humanity considered normal. Chief Biosecurity Inspector Falzar had seen civilizations collapse before. He had investigated alien plagues, artificial mutations, and forbidden biological experiments. But never had his scanners produced this result. A single residential compartment aboard Horizon Gate Station had triggered the Galactic Federation's highest biological threat level. The sensors detected millions of unknown microbial signatures mixed with volatile organic compounds. The contamination pattern was unlike any known weapon. The station's artificial intelligence classified it as a possible extinction-level event. Then every alarm on Horizon Gate began screaming. The last time the Omega Biological Protocol was activated, an entire moon was abandoned. Now, 3 Federation cruisers immediately changed course toward a human diplomatic station. Cargo routes were interrupted. Civilian ships were ordered away. Across the galaxy, military analysts watched the emergency broadcast. The message was simple. A human biological threat had appeared inside Federation territory. But nobody understood the strangest part. The contamination source was not a laboratory. It was inside the personal quarters of a human commander. The apartment belonged to Commander Andrew Hall, Earth's senior military representative on Horizon Gate. Federation intelligence already considered humans dangerous. Their species came from a violent Deathworld where survival required extreme adaptation. But this was different. The scanners indicated the source was located in the sleeping area of a 15-year-old human adolescent. Falzar studied the data again. A teenager. Not a soldier. Not a scientist. Not a biological weapons specialist. Yet the contamination levels exceeded industrial chemical storage limits. The Federation response team entered the apartment wearing full biological armor. 12 elite specialists carried molecular sterilizers, containment shields, and emergency neutralization equipment. They expected a hidden weapon. Instead, they found a human teenager sitting on a couch. Levi Hart was wearing headphones, playing a game, completely unaware that an alien assault team had just invaded his home. He slowly removed one earphone. He looked at the armed soldiers. Then he looked at the emergency lights. Is this about the smell? The soldiers froze. Their scanners continued screaming. Behind Levi's bed, the biological concentration was even higher. The air contained compounds their medical databases associated with corrosive organic reactions. One alien officer stepped back. Impossible. No organism should generate this level of contamination naturally. Falzar watched Levi carefully. The teenager showed no fear. No pain. No reaction. To the Federation, that meant only one possibility. The human child was immune to his own biological weapon. Falzar ordered the area sealed immediately. A containment field surrounded Levi's bedroom while robotic arms moved toward the suspected source. Every alien in the room prepared for the worst. The Federation had spent centuries eliminating dangerous microorganisms from their civilizations. Humans had done the opposite. They had evolved alongside billions of microscopic organisms. What aliens considered contamination, humans considered normal biology. But nobody was prepared for what the robots discovered beneath the bed. The robotic arm slowly removed a simple laundry basket. Inside were ordinary human clothes. A shirt. Sports equipment. And one pair of old football socks. The scanners instantly reached maximum output. Purple warning lights covered the entire apartment. The containment computer announced. Unknown biological object detected. Threat level, Class 9. The alien soldiers raised their weapons. Levi stared at them in confusion. Seriously? He pointed at the socks. My mom told me to wash those yesterday. At that exact moment, Commander Andrew Hall received the emergency notification. His home had been classified as a biological battlefield. His son's bedroom had become a military quarantine zone. And a Federation strike team was preparing to destroy the apartment. Andrew rushed back through the station, already knowing the truth. Humanity had not created a weapon. Humanity had created something much worse. A teenager who ignored laundry day. And the Galactic Federation was about to discover why humans were considered the galaxy's ultimate Deathworld survivors. Because what humans called disgusting, other species called impossible. Commander Andrew Hall reached Horizon Gate's residential sector as emergency doors locked behind him one by one. Every screen displayed the same warning. Biological threat, Class 9, total containment active. He expected to see a disaster. Instead, he found 12 alien soldiers surrounding a glass containment chamber. Inside that chamber was a pair of human football socks. Andrew stopped. He looked at the soldiers. Then he looked at the socks. For several seconds, nobody spoke. Finally, Inspector Falzar approached. Commander Hall, your offspring appears to have produced an extremely dangerous biological compound. Andrew slowly closed his eyes. He already knew exactly what had happened. Falzar activated the containment report. The holographic display showed thousands of biological readings. The object contains aggressive microbial colonies, corrosive organic compounds, and unidentified chemical interactions. The alien inspector pointed toward the chamber. Such a concentration should destroy living tissue. Andrew looked at the report. Then he looked at Levi. His son was still sitting calmly on the couch. Finally, Andrew asked the only question that mattered. How long did your scanners analyze this? 37 minutes. Andrew sighed. That means you spent 37 minutes studying dirty socks. The aliens did not understand why the human commander sounded disappointed instead of afraid. The Federation had removed almost all natural bacteria from their civilization centuries earlier. Their environments were sterile. Their bodies were controlled. Their evolution had separated them from microscopic ecosystems. Humans were different. Earth was a death world. A place where survival required adaptation against countless invisible threats. Human skin carried billions of microorganisms. Human bodies produced chemicals through simple activities. Running, working, playing sports, sweating. To humans, these processes were ordinary. To the Federation, they looked like uncontrolled biological warfare. Falzar stared at Andrew. Your species lives with this every day? Andrew nodded. Yes. The alien inspector became silent. The Galactic Council received Falzar's updated report. The first assumption had been wrong. Humanity had not created a weapon. Humanity itself was the anomaly. Across dozens of worlds, military leaders reviewed the data. If humans naturally carried biological systems that terrified advanced civilizations, what else had the Federation misunderstood? Their strength was not only their ships, not only their weapons, not only their combat strategies. Their greatest advantage was adaptation. Humans survived conditions that other species considered unacceptable. The Council's military analysts reached an uncomfortable conclusion. Humanity did not need biological weapons. Humanity was already a biological challenge. Despite Andrew's explanation, Federation protocol demanded analysis. The socks were transported to the most secure xenobiological laboratory in the sector. The operation looked like a military campaign. Heavy escorts protected the transport. Defense drones monitored every movement. Scientists prepared dozens of emergency systems. Nobody wanted to admit they were studying laundry. Inside the laboratory, Chief Researcher Ballals examined the sample. His species had analyzed alien viruses, extinct organisms, and forbidden genetic experiments. But never something so ordinary. He activated the first test. Chemical analysis began. The result shocked everyone. The material was resisting standard decomposition procedures. Ballals increased the testing intensity. Acid exposure, radiation scans, thermal analysis. Nothing produced the expected result. The laboratory became increasingly confused. The socks were not alive. They were not engineered. They were not dangerous. Yet the combination of synthetic fibers, human sweat residue, and bacterial activity created a remarkably durable structure. A scientist reviewed the data twice. Then a third time. This cannot be correct. Falzar watched the screens. What does the report say? The scientist hesitated. Finally, the answer appeared. Origin, human athletic garment. Threat source, poor maintenance. Recommended neutralization, washing machine. Nobody in the laboratory moved. The silence lasted several seconds. Then one scientist slowly turned toward Falzar. The entire emergency was caused by clothing? The inspector did not answer. He looked at the containment chamber. A Class 9 biological emergency. 3 cruisers. Thousands of evacuation orders. Millions of credits spent. All because a human teenager forgot his laundry. But then the laboratory detected something unexpected. A new biological pattern appeared. Something even stranger than the socks themselves. Falzar stepped closer to the screen. What is that? The scientist's expression changed. "Inspector, the contamination is not the dangerous part." A pause. "The dangerous part is what humans consider normal exposure." The report spread through the Galactic Council within minutes. The Federation had spent thousands of years designing civilizations that avoided biological uncertainty. Humans had evolved inside it. Their immune systems adapted. Their bodies negotiated with microscopic life. Their entire species represented a survival philosophy the galaxy had forgotten. Commander Andrew Hall watched the alien scientist studying his son's laundry like an ancient artifact. He almost laughed. Almost. Because he understood something important. The Federation was not afraid of the socks. They were afraid of what the socks represented. A species that could survive environments where others could not. And now the galaxy had discovered humanity's strangest weapon. Not technology. Not warships. Not armies. Adaptation itself. The Galactic Council gathered within the hour. Normally, such meetings were reserved for wars, planetary disasters, or civilization-level threats. This time, the emergency file had a different title. Human Biological Adaptation Incident. Thousands of representatives connected from across the galaxy. Some demanded immediate restrictions on human contact. Others argued that humanity had already proven itself trustworthy through decades of cooperation. But one question dominated the debate. If a simple pair of human socks could overwhelm Federation sensors, what else had they misunderstood about humans? The answer frightened them. Because humanity's greatest advantage was not something they could confiscate. It was built into every human. Federation military commanders reviewed centuries of tactical doctrine. They had always categorized species according to predictable strengths. Some were stronger. Some were faster. Some possessed superior technology. But humans created a new category. Adaptive survivors. Commander Andrew Hall explained the concept during the council briefing. Humans don't survive because we are immune to everything. He looked at the alien representatives. We survive because we learn faster than the environment can defeat us. The statement changed the room. For centuries, the Federation had prepared for enemies using weapons. They had never prepared for a species whose greatest weapon was adjustment. The military analysts immediately began rewriting strategic models. Humanity was not dangerous because it was aggressive. Humanity was dangerous because it refused to remain unchanged. Meanwhile, Chief Researcher Bowles completed the final analysis. The laboratory report contained the information that would become famous throughout the galaxy. The socks themselves were harmless. The bacteria were harmless. The chemical compounds were harmless to humans. The danger came from a simple misunderstanding. Federation biology assumed that anything capable of surviving harsh conditions must have been designed as a weapon. Humans did not design their resilience. They earned it through millions of years of survival. Bowles transmitted the final message. Inspector Falzar, there is no biological attack. A pause followed. The human teenager simply participated in physical activity and failed to clean his clothing. The entire laboratory remained silent. Then one scientist quietly asked, "How many humans live like this?" Nobody answered. 3 standard days later, the Galactic Council passed a historic regulation. The official document became known as Article 402b. Its purpose was simple. Prevent accidental biological panic caused by human household environments. The first recommendation was mandatory education. Federation citizens interacting with humans needed to understand basic human biology. The second recommendation was even stranger. Alien diplomats were advised never to enter a human teenager's personal room without preparation. The final note became the most quoted sentence in Federation history. Objects considered unpleasant by humans may represent extreme biological uncertainty for non-human species. Across the galaxy, the phrase became a joke. But military leaders did not laugh. They understood the deeper meaning. Humanity had changed the definition of survival. Levi Hart never expected to become a historical figure. To him, it was still embarrassing. His friends on Earth laughed when they heard the story. His classmates created jokes about his legendary weapon. But across the galaxy, young alien researchers studied the incident differently. They were fascinated. A human teenager had unknowingly demonstrated one of the most important principles of evolution. Adaptation did not always look powerful. Sometimes it looked ordinary. Sometimes it looked like someone forgetting laundry. Sometimes the greatest difference between species was not what they created. It was what they could tolerate. Commander Andrew Hall returned home after the crisis ended. The containment equipment disappeared. The soldiers left. The alarm stopped. Only one thing remained: the laundry basket. Andrew looked at Levi. "You understand that the entire Galactic Federation thinks your socks are a weapon?" Levi shrugged. "Can I at least get new ones?" For the first time in days, Falzar laughed. A genuine laugh. The alien inspector finally understood the truth. Humans were not terrifying because they wanted to dominate the galaxy. They were terrifying because they could walk through chaos and call it Tuesday. Months later, Federation academies added a new chapter to military training. Not about human weapons. Not about human ships. Not about human combat strategies. About human normality. Because that was the true mystery. A human could survive extreme environments. A human could adapt to unknown threats. A human could face impossible conditions. And then return home to complain about laundry. The galaxy had searched for humanity's greatest secret. They expected advanced technology. They expected hidden weapons. They expected military superiority. Instead, they discovered something much stranger. Humanity's greatest power was being comfortable in places where nobody else could survive. Today the galaxy learned why humans were never prey. A pair of dirty socks exposed the greatest misunderstanding in Federation history. Humanity's true weapon was adaptation itself. Today the galaxy learned why humans were never prey. A pair of dirty socks exposed the greatest misunderstanding in Federation history. Humanity's true weapon was adaptation itself.